Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to PS You Need a Vacation, brought to you by PS Family Vacations. I'm your host, Greg Schroeder, travel advisor with PS Family Vacations, and we have an extremely exciting episode lined up for you today. We're going to be diving into everything Epic Universe, which is Universal's bold expansion into the future of immersive entertainment. Whether you're a diehard coaster fan, someone begging to get into Gryffindor, a Nintendo geek, or just love cutting-edge attractions, this park is truly incredible and has something for everyone. Joining me today are both the PS Family Vacations owners, Amy Perry and Christy Smith, who were able to experience the park last week, part of the agency previews. I also experienced the park several weeks ago as a resort guest, and we actually haven't had an opportunity to discuss the park very much because we wanted to save our reactions and discussions for all of you here on the podcast. So welcome, Amy and Christy. How are you all this evening?
Doing great, Greg. Thank you.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for being on.
Great. Thanks again for joining, and I can't wait to dive in. First, let's take a look at our agenda. We're going to briefly touch on the background of what Epic Universe is, the park layout, summarize the lands, and finally, the important part, we're going to discuss our general reactions to the attractions, the food, and the overall experience, atmosphere, and vibe. So let's go. Well, Epic Universe is a brand new theme park opening on May 22nd, 2025 here in Orlando, Florida. This is going to be Universal's fourth theme park in Orlando, joining Universal Studios Florida, Islands of Adventure, and Volcano Bay. But Epic Universe isn't just another theme park. This is actually a separate 750-acre campus created for Universal Orlando, essentially doubling the size of Universal Orlando. The park is setting new standards and immersions, blending traditional thrills with next-generation technology and storytelling. The project first was announced in 2019, and construction started quickly thereafter. Unfortunately, during the pandemic, construction did have to stop. However, Universal immediately resumed construction as quickly as they could in 2021, and because of that, they were able to finish the park. The construction is now complete, and in April, they started inviting team members to experience the park, and following that, annual pass holders, resort guests, and also travel advisors have been able to start experiencing this new incredible theme park. So, Amy and Christy, what were some of your thoughts about this new Universal Orlando theme park? And what do you think it's going to bring to the theme park industry?
So, Greg, I absolutely loved Epic Universe. Epic Universe is a whole new level, and it actually reminds me a lot more of Disney theming because it really does immerse you in every single land. And this is by far my favorite park of theirs, and I absolutely loved it.
Totally agree. Yep, absolutely. Christy, what did you think?
Well, I am a details person. Like, I love walking through the parks and paying attention to all the details. And I feel like they outdid themselves in this park. And it really, even outside of the parks too, Amy and I actually stayed at the Helios Grand Resort, and the landscaping, and there's definitely room for growth, but inside the park, they just went all out on the details. And it really shows that they do want to, immerse you in these lands and give you the story that they're trying to tell.
Absolutely. I totally agree with everything you just said. It is focusing more on the immersion, the theming. I think it's really clear that Universal wanted to step up their game, and that Universal executives and Universal Creative were both excited about creating something new, creating something very unique, and they didn't cut corners. And I think that's really evident here. For example, like in the Fantastic Beasts, Ministry of Magic, Wizarding World of Harry Potter area, the fact that they actually built facades that were 5 stories tall, I don't know how many feet they were, easily 100 feet plus on both sides of you, just to really immerse you into that story. Fantastic Beasts wasn't the most popular movie franchise. However, I don't think that really mattered as much as they really wanted to invest in really high quality theming. And so at the end of the day, theme park guests aren't always looking for an IP. They're looking for an experience. And that's absolutely what I think they wanted to deliver and went all in and came through. Then I just mentioned it is a 750-acre plot. Currently, they're only using a fraction of that land. What's exciting about that, obviously, is currently the land has Epic Universe and 3 hotels, but there's more than enough land and plots on this property for several more hotels. And if they created a parking garage where the existing flat parking lot is already easy to see, there's more than enough room for not only another City Walk 2.0, a entertainment district with more shops and restaurants, but there's also more than enough room for a 5th theme park to come to Universal Orlando. So they're truly looking at this as a long-term investment, and they're going to do it right. So that's the things that I was most excited about. More proof that they're really diving into theme parks, obviously, is recent announcements that they're confirming Universal Studios in Great Britain, and they're also building a theme park out in Texas, the Universal Kids Resort. So Universal definitely understands the future of theme parks and bringing that to their guests in a big way.
Greg, if I can mention, I absolutely loved the Grand Helios. I thought that was the best hotel I've ever stayed at that was that close to the park. I've stayed at the Grand Californian, that's, right at the back door of Disneyland, but Helios is a whole different level. And literally, it took us 5 minutes to get through security and right out the door and right there for rope drop and straight into either the Wizarding World or the Monsters portal. We were right there. So, I mean, we literally came right out of our room, down the elevator, straight out the back security entrance, and right into the park. So that is definitely the most convenient hotel we've ever stayed at as far as theme park entrance. It was worth every penny staying there, and it was so beautiful. And we could definitely see from the top when we went to the bar, which I
The Bar
absolutely
Helios?
loved,
Yeah.
Bar Helios, that you could definitely see where they were already expanding, even though they haven't even officially opened. But you could see all the expansion. They're already cleared land that they're trying to already expand. But we absolutely love the hotel.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. And when you're thinking about which hotel to stay at, there's a lot of factors to consider the value of a property. And you definitely need to factor in that ease of park entry when considering, do I want to spend X amount to stay at either hotel? And you're absolutely right. The amenities that Helios Grand offers between the park entry, the 2 restaurants there, Flora Taverna and Bar Helios, are some great amenities that create ultimate value for that resort. You're very right.
And we were sitting in our beds looking out at the whole park. And we were on the 2nd floor, so we weren't even that high. But you could see the beautiful fountain and all the lights at night. And we could see the coaster going. And so it was a great experience, even just getting to look out at the park.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. You do have a little bit of extra time on all the other guests that are staying on property. They also get to get in an hour early, but you are closer. And they did let us go a little bit faster than the rest. So I definitely think it was a perk staying on property, super easy. The rooms were very comfortable and beautiful, nice and clean. So I would definitely recommend that.
Greg, how do you feel that your hotel compared? Because you stayed at Stella Nova, right?
Terra Luna, very similar to Stella Nova. They're both pretty much identical sister properties across the street from Epic. The obvious difference, that you can't avoid is the price difference. At the time I stayed, it was $120 a night. That was a Florida resident discount. Prices vary depending on seasons, discount availability, etc. So not always going to be the same price, but but the price that I paid, I was very happy. I just had to get onto a bus, and it was probably a 10-minute bus ride across the street at the bus stop, and then 10-minute walk into the park. So if you were going to stay on the main Universal Studios campus, it would probably be at least a 35-minute ride from another hotel to be dropped off and to walk into the park. And this was only maybe 20 minutes from hotel exit to the park entrance. So it was still very convenient for the price that I paid. Granted, it's not walk right out your back door like the Helios Grand. So definitely things to keep in mind. Also, just waking up in the morning at the Helios Grand, I can just imagine looking out and seeing that park, knowing that that's your day ahead. I can also see a lot of value in Helios Grand, even though the price is a notch higher. You're getting a lot.
Yes, and we're hoping they eventually will include the express pass with that stay. That would be fabulous, but we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, it would make sense. All right, well, moving on. The next thing we're going to talk about is the park layout. Describe the different lands of the park. When you walk up to the park, you're greeted by an entrance that loosely resembles the famous Universal Studios theme park arches. However, this is much more than that. This is the Kronos, which acts as your portal into Celestial Park, the first world you visit of Epic Universe. When you first walk in, you walk right out to the Luna statue. And that overlook is just incredible. You see fountain upon fountain upon fountain all the way back towards the Helios Grand Hotel. They really created a beautiful area that people are really going to enjoy being in, especially once the trees grow in even more. They talked about how they wanted to put the park back into theme park. I think people are looking for the opportunity to lose yourself walking around the bends and curves and take a seat on a park bench and watch the fountain show that runs throughout the day, but especially at night, about every 30 minutes, based upon different themed areas of the park. And Nintendo is a big one. Some other things about Central Park, there are a couple attractions. There's Stardust Racers, which is a dual launch coaster. People are saying they enjoy that ride better than Velocicoaster. Did you two get on Stardust Racers?
It was actually down the day we were there. We were super bummed because Velocicoaster is one of my favorite rides. And when you told me that, I was like, oh my gosh, cannot wait. So anyhow, we are hoping and looking forward to getting to ride that when we go back.
Great. And then the other main attraction in Celestial Park is Constellation Carousel, which when you think of a carousel, this is so much more than that. It's so much larger. You're getting on these astrological sign themed characters, and they not only go around in a circle, but they go up and down and turn around to the music. And there's a couple of smaller turntables inside of the larger ones, so you can choose what experience you want. The ones on the outside of the smaller turntables have a little bit of a slower experience, and the ones inside the smaller turntables kind of have teacup experience in that they move a little faster than the outside ones. Another really beautifully themed attraction, and the music that goes along with it is really going to be a popular choice with a lot of kids. I think they wanted to put in a carousel and they plussed it up one, which was really exciting.
This was the best carousel I've ever been on. I literally thought we were floating. It kind of felt like you were dancing, and the music was amazing and the lights. I would say absolutely ride that at night. And I really liked how they made some of them that one person or two people or a bench seat, but then it also had like a little baby seat in the front that you could strap like a 5 or 6-year-old into, or even as small as a toddler. And I loved that 3 people could sit in that bench seat, and then you could also have like a smaller child. I thought that was incredible. And this was definitely my number 2 ride. I loved it.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Another attraction for Celestial Park is there's a lot of food stride offerings in that area. The first one is Atlantis, which is a Mediterranean seafood restaurant. There's also Pizza Moon, a fire brick oven pizza opportunity. There's also Oak Star Tavern, which is a barbecue restaurant. There is Astro Pub Burgers, and also a new restaurant that actually just opened a couple of days ago, the Blue Dragon Asian restaurant. So that's 5 that is open right now. And there's also a second expansion building over between How to Train Your Dragon and Celestial Park that's not open yet, but that should have in the future a Italian and a Mexican restaurant. So Celestial Park has a lot of food options for every taste.
Yeah, I really feel like Universal really kind of listened to guest input on this, because I feel like the other parks have a couple options for you, but inside the park, I don't feel like there's as many options. So I really was excited to see these restaurants, and then we also did try a couple of them, which was wonderful.
Oh, definitely. A lot of the social media creators are going crazy right now with all the different food options available at the park. They really did their homework, like you said, and have created a lot of really unique offerings that people are definitely attracting to. Celestial Park is also your gateway to the other peripheral portal worlds of the park, which are Super Nintendo World, Universal Monsters Dark Universe, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, the Ministry of Magic, and finally, How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Burr. A big part of what this park is all about is these individual portals that they've created. Again, people have used the word immersion all over the place when it comes to this park. And a lot of that has to do with such strong separations between the lands, so that when you do walk in, they put a lot of thought into what is that first grand reveal going to look like. It really takes you into that world and makes you believe, hey, I'm in Isle of Burr. I'm in a Nintendo video game. I'm in Paris, etc. What did you guys think? What was your favorite portal reveal when you walked in?
Oh man, that's hard. Amy, you want to go first, or you want me to?
I can. I absolutely loved Super Nintendo World. That was our thing growing up. Christy and I used to always play the games, and the way that, I mean, just that initial going up the green tube and it's sucking you up with the
The
sound like
sound.
it's chomping you in there,
Yes.
and the green escalator going up.
We all know that
And
sound. Yeah.
we do. And and it
No,
was
that.
so real. It
Hmm.
was just so, yeah, it totally brings you back to childhood. And I absolutely, that was my favorite land.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. It's very hard for me. I feel like honestly, I really kind of liked the Ministry of Magic area the best. I mean, I don't know. Close to Isle of Burke. They all actually were very amazing, but I'm going to go with Ministry of Magic mainly because of the detail that they put into that land, and like even in Paris, the street names are up on the buildings, and just the colors, and it's so creative in that land. And if you look up high too, there's little things like above the candy store. I think it's a dentist area. I took a picture of it, but it has like teeth and stuff on there. So really cute, and I really, really enjoyed that area.
Excellent. Yeah, it's so hard to say what is your favorite because each one of these are so unique, and it's obviously put just the same amount of effort into every one of them. And another thing I think they did really great on is they definitely listened to the public. You could tell they did a lot of focus groups to try to figure out which 4 portals should they open the park with. As Amy mentioned before, there are some expansion pads which may or may not be future expansions of these current lands. They might be brand new ones, but for when this park opens on May 22nd, the fact that they chose these 4, I think, was really smart. Super Nintendo World, like you guys said, it's truly like stepping into a video game. All the bright colors, the iconic Mario imagery, all the kinetic motion, the spinning coins, and the pounding blocks going up and down, the piranha plants, and the music that we just talked about going up the pipe, and the opportunity to meet Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, Princess Peach, and Toad is just a dream for pretty much every generation after Generation X, myself included. I
Mm-hmm.
first got my Nintendo, I was probably 12, 13 years old. I don't know. But ever since then, yeah, hours, geez, that my brother and I spent playing that. So, and the great thing is that kids today are still appreciating Nintendo. So that was such a smart IP because the parents are going to want to bring their kids and the kids are going to want to go.
For sure.
Yeah. And
What was your favorite portal, Greg?
again, it's so hard to pick. I think my favorite reveal has to be the Ministry of Magic. And the biggest reason is the detail and the scale. Again, the
Mm-hmm.
fact that they went 5 stories tall on either side just put me back into Paris when I was there several years ago. But the Donkey Kong area, that's another favorite video game of mine. That was really exciting to walk into. It's so hard to say what my favorite land is, but I think that Ministry of Magic was my favorite reveal just due to the scale. So, and the second land is, like we just talked about, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic. You're heading into 1920s Paris, inspired by the Fantastic Beasts films. And there's obviously a lot of nods to the Harry Potter franchise. And I think what's great about them choosing to go this unique route with France is, I think I touched on earlier, it doesn't matter that the Fantastic Beasts franchise wasn't as popular. The guests don't need to have IP all over everything. The fact that they just did such a great job, and obviously Paris is such a unique destination that people love anyway. This was going to be a win no matter what, as long as they do it right, which they absolutely did. And I think it's really great that they also have included the Battle at the Ministry, which is obviously a full-fledged Harry Potter attraction. When you go through the Flume network, you're leaving 1920s Paris and you're finding yourself in today Harry Potter in England. So you do get the best of both worlds. You're not missing out on Harry Potter, the fact that they chose to theme the land as Fantastic Beasts. So again, I just think it was really smart that they were able to find a way to combine both and not leave Harry Potter out. People would have been disappointed had they done that, I think. The next one is How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk. This land, I think, was really smart because it aims at families with a dragon-themed roller coaster, Hiccup Swing Glider. There's a lot of interactive play zones. There's the Fire Chasers boat ride, and there's also the Dragon Racers Rally, which is a spinning flat ride. And the immersive of this area is seen by all the animatronic dragons that are everywhere. When you walk around, you see all these tails moving around, or you see these or smoke breathing dragon animatronics that really just bring a lot of kinetic motion to the area. And another really popular area in this land is to meet Toothless. I'm sure you guys have seen everywhere all over social media the animatronic that you actually get to walk up to and put your hand on his nose, just like in the movie. To be able to have that experience, everybody is enjoying.
Greg, just to add, we also went to this show and absolutely loved it. Everyone in the audience was cheering, and it was one of the best shows I've ever seen. And, Toothless actually flies through the audience, and it was just a great show as well.
Yeah, I've definitely been hearing that.
Also, I want to just say, I do feel like that land is very beautiful. You walk in and you see the Viking statues in the water, and just the way that they did the little villages up high. And I don't know, it's a very pleasing world as well. So pleasing to the eye and fun for the kids, like you said, with all the animatronics and that kind of stuff to go look at. So will definitely be that will be a fun one for the families.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And then moving on to the last one, Universal Monsters Dark Universe. Again, this one, there was a lot of popularity for the monsters. So this one is more adult focused. But again, they did a great job of providing the other three for families and this one for adults. So I think it's still a really great balance. It's arguably the scariest land, obviously, for the horror fans and those who love Halloween Horror Nights and wish it was all year round. Well, in this land, it definitely is. Set in a Gothic village of Darkmoor with Frankenstein's castle, hosts a massive dark ride showcasing Dr. Victoria Frankenstein's experiments that bring all the monsters to life. It's called Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein Experiments. This is probably, out of all the attractions I was able to ride the day I was there, this was my favorite. Just the scale of this attraction, it did not rely on screens. There were very few. Whatever did rely on is tons of huge monsters animatronics. And it's a Kuka arm attraction similar to Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey over at Islands of Adventure. However, I know some of you might be thinking that ride over at Islands of Adventure is kind of uncomfortable sometimes. But when they brought that ride technology over to Epic Universe in Monsters Unchained, they tamed it down to a level that it was extremely comfortable. I did not notice any of the shaking and jarring that you get on the other one. What did you both think?
I loved it too. I would agree with you. That was probably my favorite ride of the day. Just the creativity that they put into that ride and the animatronics, like you said, just, blew my mind. So I can't wait to take my family back and let them experience it as well.
Greg, I would say first of all, I don't like anything scary. I don't like horror nights or anything like that. But that was my favorite ride. And I kept thinking the entire ride, my mouth was wide open. I did not feel that it was uncomfortable at all. And I just kept saying, oh my gosh, this is epic. And I know that sounds totally cliche, but it was so incredible. Totally the best ride in the park. And I did not expect to like this land either. And I just loved it. I loved Igor. I loved the castle. I loved the restaurant that we ate in there. So I loved this whole land.
Which restaurant did you eat at? The Burning Blade Tavern or Das Steakhouse?
We ate at the Doss Steakhouse.
Okay. What'd you
Yeah,
think?
it was good. We ate kind of late and they were about to close. But I will say, I got something up the kids' menu. It was something to do with this, like beef on a steak, like a steak that you put in the vampire's heart,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah,
But it was
very,
little
very on
pieces of
brand.
meatloaf, and it was actually really good. And it came with French fries, so it was just perfect. And then I think Amy got salmon.
Salmon on a steak, and it was
Yeah,
so good. I
yeah.
absolutely loved it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we enjoyed it. I'd like to try it again, earlier in the day and stuff. But I will say too, I feel like, kids are always into dressing up and stuff. And I thought that something really cool in that land was that you can get a monster makeover. So you can go in there and get your face painted. And I think they might even do something with your hair. And I believe the price was not that much. I think it was like $45. So that's kind of something fun for the little kids. And there's just something about how they had the fogginess. It was kind of cool. I mean, some kids may be scared, but most of the kids we saw walking through there really weren't scared. And actually a lot of them, there's a place right in the front where you can go take pictures in a coffin, and there was lots of little kids doing that and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see the feedback on families liking that particular world.
Yeah, and they definitely had a lot of streetmosphere. Like you talked about, Igor sometimes walks around and interacts with the guests. They have the Invisible Man that walks around. And one cool thing about these characters I notice is they're not out there trying to be a caricature from Halloween Horror Nights. They're not out there trying to jump out of the bushes and try to scare you. They kind of were walking around telling jokes. Like
Yeah.
the Invisible Man was like insulting people, in a very sarcastic way, just playing along with these guests, and they're all having a great time. So I think that was really cool that they kind of, didn't go to the gory extremes when trying to interact with guests or presenting this land, so that the kids can look at this as kind of a fun area, more of a Halloween type experience than something really dark and sinister.
Right.
So, all right, excellent. Now let's go ahead and move over to our overall reactions, atmosphere of the park. Let's go around the horn and discuss what impressed you the most.
I just feel like this project has turned out to be amazing. I was really surprised at how beautiful the park was, and the hub and spoke design, similar to a lot of the Disney parks, really made it much more enjoyable to walk around, in my opinion. They took this really cool experience to another level. It's fun just walking through each portal. I really feel like, that it's going to be great for so many different generations. And yeah, that's my take on it from the beginning.
Yep. Excellent. Yeah. I'll go next. Like you said, this is definitely going to be a park that's great for all generations. I think they really did a great job of picking the right IPs. Several of them are for adults and kids. One might be for more adult oriented, and another one might be more for kids. But there's two, Harry Potter and Nintendo, that are perfect for all generations. So there's so much weight that's going to be pulling everybody into this park, because they really just picked the right IPs. And the shows that they put into this park, we didn't talk about the Le Cirque Arcanist show in the Ministry of Magic area. That was
So good.
also, yeah, that was so good. The theatrics, there's a lot of kind of magic tricks that they put into the show. I won't give any spoilers, but they really had a lot of really cool special effects and stage design and puppets and characters and actors that really made this a really impressive experience. Same as you were talking about with the How to Train Your Dragon show, which I have yet to see. That's the great thing about this park, is there's just so much. One thing you got to know is you're not going to see it all in one day. So if you do decide to go, try to get 2 days if you can, or there's no way you're going to get everything done in a single day. As far as the food, there's a few opportunities for chicken tenders in this park and fries, but not very many. So I think they did a really great job of develop some unique offerings that people who are looking for a little bit more, you're going to easily find that here. Some of the more popular offerings people have talked about in the How to Train Your Dragon area, there's the PB&J cones, which stands for pork, bacon, and jam, which is on top of some mac and cheese in kind of a garlic pizza cone. That's the first thing I'm going to try when I go back on May 20th.
Yeah, some people with it, and it looked interesting.
Oh, I'm really excited about that one. And also at Pizza Moon, there's a lot of popular brick oven pizzas there. One I want to try is the ube crust one. And in the Burning Blade Tavern, I want to try the pretzel garlic steak and garlic dipping sauce. That's another popular one that people are liking. And there's also the butterbeer crepes in the Harry Potter area. Did you guys ate at that restaurant, didn't you? The cafe?
It was excellent. Yes.
Yeah. Did you try the butterbeer crepes?
No, we were trying to eat healthy that day, and so actually they had so many healthy options. And Christy had like a roasted chicken with fresh green beans, not canned, and a nice salad. And I had soup and salad. The French onion soup was great, and the salad was fantastic. They also had sugar-free lemonade, which was so refreshing because it was hot that day. And we did see several people eating the crepes, and it is enough to share with probably 4 people, but they looked amazing.
Yeah, totally agree. I really liked Cafe Lair de Sarine. Amy and I sat outside and we people watched. It was really fun. But so you can sit out outside, or there's a ton of room inside. So that was great.
Yeah, definitely a good place to people watch, certainly. All right.
Yes.
And then to wrap up, my first reactions to the atmosphere and the overall vibe of the park. I loved how Celestial Park is set up in just such a huge open area. The fountains just create so much kinetic energy. There's just so many little turns and nooks and crannies to discover along the way. I just think they went all out with the attractions, not duplicate what they've done in other parks, but really to take a notch up and create something that people are really going to be impressed with. So yeah, those are definitely the things I took away. Just the overall scale and immersion of this park is something that's going to keep people going back over and over again. And I can't wait to renew my annual pass as soon as Epic is included on it. That is definitely going to happen. So Amy, what was your thoughts of the attractions, the food, and your overall experience?
I literally loved every single attraction we did. I loved the park. I loved Helios. The 2 main things that I thought they did really well, besides the portals and the immersion, but the 2 more smaller details that I found were even better than Disney. I loved their choices for dining. I thought all the food was very different. Like you said, it wasn't cheeseburgers and chicken fingers. Everything was different. So you could have so many different things during the day if you wanted to. And I also love that you can go into the restaurant. You sit down. They don't make you have a mobile order number before you sit down in the nice cool air. You actually go into the restaurant, and all of the restaurants are very immersive and very themed. And you go, you sit down, you order what you want, and then you scan the table QR code, and they bring the food to you. So I don't know about everybody else, but I have 6 people in my family. So, it always takes a couple of us to go up there and get the food, but this way everybody's bringing it to our table when we're already tired and our feet hurt. So I thought they did that so much better than other theme parks. And then I loved that they took some advice. One of the things I didn't care for in Universal and Islands of Adventure is the locker system. So I usually tell all my clients, don't bring anything with you that day because the lockers are such a pain. But the lockers at Epic are completely different. You're actually in the line queue with all your stuff the whole time. And then at the very end, it's very similar to Tron. At the very end, right before you board the ride, you go and you put your stuff in the lockers, and you don't have to pay for them. They are larger, and you don't have to use a card that you could lose or anything. It's facial recognition. And then your stuff comes out on the other side. So it's a really good flow. So all in all, again, I have nothing but amazing reviews, and I could definitely tell that they're upping their game, and I loved everything about it, and plus more.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
definitely tell they looked at the theme park experience and they've recognized an opportunity. Let's take a step back and see what we can improve. And you're absolutely right. Nobody likes to stand in line for a counter service restaurant to order your food, pick it up, and take it to the table. They do have a counter at all of the restaurants that if you don't have a phone and you don't want to do mobile order for whatever reason, there is a counter off to the side. But I don't think hardly anybody is probably using it, but it is there just for some people who might not be comfortable. But the rest of us, yeah, I think it's a great idea. We can go sit down, scan a barcode, order our food, and have it delivered right to us. And you're absolutely right. The locker experience was so streamlined, the way that it does facial recognition instead of a card. You just walk up, present your face, and then it pops open a locker next to you. It's that easy. So the one that pops open, you push your stuff in there and then you go on the ride. And then when you get off the ride, the great thing is you don't have to remember what locker you put your stuff in. Again, you just walk up to the camera, it looks at your face, it knows what locker it gave you. It'll pop open the door next to you and there's your stuff. So I thought that was really cool. You didn't even have to remember what locker number you were.
Yeah, super innovative for sure. So I just think the whole vibe of Epic Universe is just so cool. And then it's a totally different vibe at night, which just gives you a whole other experience. So, and again, if you stay at Helios, you can go back, take a little rest, and come back when the crowds die down. It gets a little cooler and the lights come on, which is really nice. But it's just such a cool experience. They took it to another level. And again, trying not to do this, but we are Disney people, so we do compare a lot of times. But I was just so impressed with this park with the shows, the two shows that we saw, in the How to Train Your Dragon area, and then the circus one in Harry Potter. They were just the cutest and they just were so engaging and they really just entertained the guest. And so I loved that about it. And they stepped it up on the food. And so just overall, a really great experience. Cannot recommend this park enough.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's going to be extremely popular. There's no doubt about it. All right. Well, in the meantime, if you guys are interested in experiencing this theme park, preview tickets are available now through May 19th. And if you're interested in going anytime after that, I did confirm you can buy single day tickets after opening, and you could also buy them as part of a ticket package with Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios or tied to a resort stay. So if you have any questions about what's the best current value or promos with Universal Orlando, definitely reach out to any of the PS Family Vacations travel agents and let us do the work for you. Keep up with all those promotions as they change so frequently, and we'll make sure you're getting the best value for your family and your friends when you visit this amazing theme park. So, all right. Do you guys have any other final thoughts before we wrap up?
No,
I don't think so.
Yeah, I
Just
think
get out there and see it because you won't believe it.
Yeah,
Yep,
agree.
absolutely. And like I said, if you're gonna go, try to stay 2 days at Epic. You're gonna need it. Don't think you're going to be able to cram it all in one. You'll be disappointed at the end of the day. But maybe that's what you want to do, so you can look forward to coming back.
Even splurge on the Express Pass. I do feel like once the park opens to everyone, I do think the Express Pass might be a must or a very, good splurge to do. So,
yep. And hopefully, like you said, one day that'll be included in the Helios Grand, just like the other Universal Orlando Premier resorts.
Yes, for sure.
So, all right. Well, again, a huge thank you to Amy and Christy for sharing your expertise and thoughts on your recent visit to Epic Universe. If any of you are dreaming of a getaway where everything is taken care of and all you have to do is relax and enjoy the park, don't wait. Reach out to one of our travel advisors, and we're here to put together the perfect vacation for you and your family and your friends. And we'll be there every step of the way, answering questions, handling any surprises, so you don't have to. Can't wait to hear from you all. And if you have any other suggestions for future podcasts, please let us know in the comments. And that will be it for this episode of PS You Need a Vacation, brought to you by PS Family Vacations. So please be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more travel insights. And so until next time, keep traveling.
Thanks for having us, Greg.
Thank you.